Hey guys, this is Heinrich, and in this video I want to talk about EQs and how they can be used for cleaning up your mix and also for sound design. That will be the bonus at the end, so stay tuned. Now, first of all, everybody knows the sentence small things do matter, but the question is that also at EQing in your mix? And the answer is yes, it does matter. I already recorded some saw waves from my synthesizer Omnisphere, and if you look at the waveform, you can see that it is a pretty much clean saw wave, yeah? a very raw saw wave. And let's have a look if we just EQ it, like just high pass it. And let's freeze the track and look how it is after EQing. Let me just drag it here into this channel. Okay, this is the audio file with the EQ on it, and you can see, yes, it makes a difference. It looks completely different. So every time if you ask the question yourself, like, I'm not sure to, like, should I EQ something or not, better do it, because you can really see it does a huge difference and it's just a saw wave. So yeah, let's just move on to the next one. Most of the EQs have 3 settings in which they can be used. The first setting I want to present is the regular setting, the standard EQing, which is used to just clean up your mix properly. For example, we got a core, I don't know, right here. And as you can see some low ends right here. Of course, if you play it solo, like only this choir right here, it doesn't affect that much. It doesn't seem like it's so loud. But actually, if you mix it down and at the end master it and compress it a lot, you will hear the difference in the end if you would cut the low end just out of the sample. Especially if you got another sound in your mix, for example the bass line. And as you can see, the bass already starts at, let me see how much it is, around 300 Hertz. It's still got some frequencies around here, and the choir does that too. Where's, yeah, exactly here, yeah. And if you just cut it right here, like where the bass pretty much ends with its frequency range, you can just clean your mix up very easily. And make sure that your mix always sounds clean as f. Alright, let's move on to the next one. The next mode is the so-called mid-side mode of the EQ. You can activate it right here, or switch it right here in Ableton's EQ. And what this mode does is you can edit the mid signals and the side signals, or better said, like the mono and the stereo signals, you could say, separately. And you have more control over your sounds in general. Right here I prepared some sound bank of my plugin Omnisphere. It sounds like a distorted guitar in the background. So what can we do here with this mid-side mode? Now we got one EQ already set to the side signals, and if we just turn down the side signals, you already notice that it sounds like the sound becomes mono, because you're almost taking all the side signals out of the total signal. And you can do the same thing if you play around with the mid signals, yeah, and just pull them away. And it seems like that only the stereo signals is left behind. So what is the actual purpose of this mode? You can use it to just widen up, for example, your sound by just dragging the mid signals down. But I would recommend just cutting the mids out of the complete signal, because if you boost a lot and you forget to set the volume back of your work, at the end you will ask yourself, like, where did the mix go? The mix sounds like crap. Also, what you can do, you can also just use the mid-side mode of the EQ by just using some bell peaks right here. And if you got a piano, for example, and the piano sounds very good in stereo, but if you put it in mono and it sounds squashy or muddy or just not good, you can just edit the mono signals of the piano and adjust it the way, like, until it sounds better without affecting any side signals. And this is why this mode can be very effective while mixing instruments. Alright, let's move on to the last mode of the EQ, the left and right mode. This mode isn't actually used quite a lot because it's very unusual to process the left and the right channel of a stereo signal separately. But Andy, in which case do you actually need this mode? For example, if you are any organizer and you want to record a set from a concert, you quite often have to use this mode. For example, if you got some strings on the left and some strings on the right sides, and someone is playing a wrong or a squeaky note on the left side, you just want to adjust the left side, for example with an automation, just for a really short time. That means that this mode is just used to correct some issues in certain mixes or in certain audio materials. In this case, I got a sound from Omnisphere again. It was really hard to find any sound which has any kind of problems in the left or only the right channels. So let's just have a listen. So as you can hear, it kind of swipes between left and right a little bit, especially here at the end. So what can we do now about it? Personally, I think that at the end, the low mids around 200 to 400 Hertz sounds a little bit too much, like too loud on the right side. That's why I already prepared some EQ which processes the right signals just a little bit. I just reduced some low end and some frequencies around 2k Hertz, because you can hear that there's still a little impact in the sound at the end, which I try to reduce. And if you would scale it up, you would hear the difference a lot more. Let's make some more extreme settings so you can hear the effect even more. So you can hear it feels like the audio gets kinda twisted by this effect. But the question is now, how can this be helpful in any mixdown? The answer is, of course you don't want to twist your audio too much, but you can use this mode to enhance the stereo signals of your audios. We'll just have a look at some other possibilities. What about this one? This one works similar to the EQ we just heard before, but the only difference between this EQ and the EQ from before is that this EQ divides certain frequencies on the left and the right channel. So if we have a look at it, some frequencies on the right channels are just cut it away, while on the right channels, right there, they are boosted. Let's turn it off first of all. And if we activate the EQ again, it also kind of twists the audio, but in a more soft way and in a more natural way. If you ever tried out any plugins at a music store, for example, in Germany there is a store called Just Music, and right there you can try out many plugins, for example also the Wave plugins. I tried out the S1 Imager, and I really have to say that this effect right here comes really close, and this is why it impresses me so much. If you want, I can put this effect or this EQ settings into the description. I will just save it as a regular Ableton file, and you can just drag it into your projects and try it out by yourself. If you just want to place some instrument, for example, into the left corner or into the right corner of your spectrum somehow, you can use this tool, and it doesn't sound like a regular panning. This mode or this tool gives the panning more depth, and it sounds more interesting in your mix. As always, please don't overdo it, because it will just sound horrible. Alright, we all waited for the bonus now. I think we'll just move on to the last station right here. So I prepared some synth sounds right here, and what I worked on is a simple sound with the operator, and what I tried to do is to rebuild some, for example, filters of Serum. Maybe you know Serum, or for example Massive, or any other third-party plugins which have very special filters, the so-called comp filtering effects filters or whatever. And what they basically do is they just take or boost certain frequencies in regular distances, and if you modulate the frequency of these bells over time, it can sound very cool and metallic. What I did here was I aligned every frequency knob of each bell right here to the macro knob right here, so I can play around with all the frequencies of every bell at the same time, as you can see. Alright, let's just deactivate this automation first of all, and deactivate this EQ also, to just listen to the sound I prepared. So it sounds pretty gritty already, but if we add this EQ, this comp filtering effect, it will sound more metallic and a lot more interesting. Like more scratchy, this GETTER kind of sound. And what we can also do is to just take these automations and play around with the positions of these automations, for example. So it sounds a lot more different, and every time I move it around, it's just not the same like before. This comp filtering effect can be very interesting for example, sounds like hypersaws or square basses, and especially any sounds with a high resonance. So let's just have a look at what it can do in a short track example I just built in some minutes. This is just another synth with the same effect. We can just try it out and see what it sounds like if we just turn it around. And without it. I hope you could hear the difference. In my opinion, it sounds way better after it. And if you don't mind, I would also put this one into the video descriptions so you can also try it out in your projects and just play around with it or maybe learn something from it. And yeah, that's basically the bonus I just wanted to show you. I thought it was pretty interesting. And yeah, okay, sorry, there are some last things I still want to show to you. For example, this sound right here is aligned to the return channel down here, and on this return channel is a dimension expander. You already know this plugin from the last video. And what I did here with the EQ, I just high passed all the bass which is coming through this return channel, so that all the signals that which are coming through the dimension expander and going back to the channel from which it came from, it will just have no bass, because this the only reason I do this is because if there is any bass or low frequency signals in the sides, since this is a since this is a stereo effect, you don't want any basses in your sides, because at the end your mix can sound very chaotic. So this is a small tip to improve your mix again. And I also used some EQs on the master. You can use any EQ, for example, also as a filter. As you can see, I automated a high pass and a low pass filter so it would sound like a filter. Boom. You can also use EQs on any master for mastering your tracks, for example, but in this case please don't overdo it with any with I don't know, with like minus 15 decibels or like something extreme. Please don't do it. Just keep in mind that you just want to master your track. If anything big isn't sitting right or just don't fit, please go back to your mix and fix it there before you try to fix it somehow on the master channel, because that makes no sense at all, since you're affecting all the frequencies in your mix down. For example, if you just want to reduce some piano and you know, like, oh, the piano is a little bit too loud, maybe I should just reduce it like this. And if you got any synthesizers in the background or any lead sounds, you will also reduce these or like all those sounds together. And if you just want to reduce the piano, so just go to the piano in your mix and just turn the piano down. It's that simple, actually. But the EQ on the master is only some slight changes. Changes between 0.1 or maximum 3 dBs. This is like the very maximum, I would say, for mastering, and that's it. Maybe you can add some high pass at around 30-40 Hertz, but that's pretty much it. You don't have to overdo anything on the master. Alright guys, I think that was enough for today. I think it was a pretty cool video. It was a lot of fun. I hope I could help you out. If you got any questions left, please let me know and type it in the comments. And yeah, have a nice day.